To honor the 100th anniversary of the Great War, the state created Indiana's World War I Centennial Commission.
It's interesting, when you go back to World War I, it was known as the Great War. The war to end all wars was the idea. That's the war that we now almost have forgotten. There's some significant contributions that have been more or less lost to history in the last 100 years. And so with the centennial, with the state of Indiana thinks it's really important to help educate the people and talk about the sacrifices, the challenges, and the contributions Indiana made.
President Woodrow Wilson declared war on April 6, 1917. Enlisted Indiana soldiers were among the first units to land on European soil, placing Hoosiers in the spotlight as the first to strike at the enemy and the first to make the ultimate sacrifice.
The first person who fired in World War I in Europe was a guy named Alex Arch from South Bend, Indiana, all the way back in October 23, 1917. Soon afterwards, James Bethel Gresham is one of the first 3 men to die on the fields of France. James Bethel Gresham is from Evansville, Indiana.
Additional Hoosiers soon followed as the Indiana National Guard quickly mobilized, with Guard units forming the 38th Infantry Division and the 84th Lincoln Division with neighboring states. In addition, Indiana's renowned 150th Field Artillery Regiment was one of the hand-picked units to make up the 42nd Rainbow Division. In all, over 135,000 Indiana soldiers served during World War I, with more than 3,000 of them making the ultimate sacrifice.
You could probably pick almost any battle of significance along the Western Front and find Indiana soldiers involved with it. We've decided, instead of just talking about the generals and the admirals, we want to tell the stories of everyday people and how they played into World War I.
Lieutenant Aaron Fisher of Lyles Station, Indiana, would become the state's most highly decorated African-American soldier who received the Distinguished Service Cross. Lieutenant Samuel Woodfill, who single-handedly incapacitated 3 German machine gun nests, earning the Medal of Honor. Opha Johnson of Kokomo, who became the first woman to enlist in the Marine Corps.
The people we've picked made enormous contributions to the war effort, but they weren't the top leadership. They weren't, sitting in Washington, D.C. making decisions. They were actually either on the front lines or at the home front making contributions and helping the war effort. As the soldiers and the officers come back from the war, some of them went back to the farm, some of them moved to the cities. They were prepared for a hierarchical, military kind of operation. They could fit into corporations easily and would all chip in to work together to make sure that not only Indiana but the United States began to really prosper and grow after the war. There's story after story after story that shows the impact that war had on Indianapolis and then the state as a whole.
And sharing these stories continues to be the driving mission of the Centennial Committee. Throughout the next 2 years, the Commission will hold public programs and events throughout the state.
It shows that we still respect the contributions of veterans, whether they fought and returned to the United States a week ago, or 100 years ago, or 200 years ago. All of those things have helped us become the nation that we are today, to maintain the freedoms and liberties that we still possess. All the veterans of today, I think, are really being honored as we do these ceremonies for the soldiers who fought 100 years ago.